Okay, now we're on the fourth video, I think, looking at the Kendall article. Let's jump straight into it. Again, what are we after? We're after audience, we're after some kind of contention, we're after the arguments. Okay, so again, I'm assuming you've already read this. So, let's have a look. If you're ever struggling with the contention, start off with, is he for it or is it against it? Okay, and that's usually pretty easy to find out, but don't want you to stop there. When you're looking for the contention, think about it's usually more nuanced than that. So he's definitely against Facebook, isn't he? Right? If, Facebook asks if social media is bad for us, it's time to listen, but we can add to that as we go. All right. Who is the audience? Okay. We know he's Kendall, 2017, but there's no byline on the back, so there's not much we can get from that. We'll have to actually read it. Okay. Okay. So we can listen to the language. We can listen to bits and pieces that would help us figure out who we think the audience might be, as we kind of go through and pick out the arguments. Okay, so the main thrust, and you can get this from the article here, from the heading here, is that that, well, if you think that social media is good, well, even Facebook, is asking the question. Right? It's like, as they're saying, McDonald's, KFC, and Domino's Pizza promoting green vegetables. Right? It's so antithetical to their position that that's a concern. And in fact, he's really pushing that, right? He's really clear with that. So I think this is close to a contention, isn't it? So if just that really is the contention. All right. Okay. So I like here also, one way you can figure out contention is to look for these modal verbs. We should, right? Okay, so now he's asking us to do something. We should take Facebook seriously and go cold turkey. Okay. So, this first section is reporting on the Facebook post, right? It's relating Facebook's concerns. All right. 2. Although they, end up concluding that perhaps more Facebook is better than less Facebook, that Facebook is bad, right? And they give some evidence of academics. And that we need more positive uses, moderation, right? Okay, and that's kind of it, right? It's a bit more of a simpler one than the ones we've had a look at so far. So let's have a think about the audience as we've kind of gone through. The mere existence of this article should set off alarm bells as to who the audience is. This is an article in a newspaper about a Facebook post. Young people don't read the newspaper to find out about Facebook posts. They giggle when they realize the Facebook post that they've been looking at for a week has finally made it into the newspapers. Right? It's like when you see a Reddit post that's been reposted into, the Herald Sun. It's a bit like, well, where's the reporting in that? Right? So this is obviously, to me, not directed at young people. Can I back that up? Sure. Cold turkey. Let's look at some of the language. Right? Going cold turkey is a bit of an older term. Right? There's a a drug aspect there, so again, claim that connection to drugs and social media. But it's bit of an older term, right? Sorry about that. Anyway, back to it. So let's look and see if there's some other terms in here that might be more relatable to an older audience. Feel-good seasonal movies, right? Does the movie industry even work that way anymore, right? The Ghost of Christmas Future, right? Is an old Dickens reference really addressed at young people? It seems very clear to me that this is for an older audience, right? Possibly for a retired, certainly non-internet savvy, right? And perhaps not social media users, right? Why do I think that? Well, they would have read it, right? But so that calls into question, if we're talking about no social media kind of, why are they saying, go cold turkey with our devices? What are we really saying here? Right? If you wanted to go down the line of, yes, it's supposed to be for older people that were using social media and can give it up, I would understand that. But I think there's another way to go. This could be a way of saying, hey, we should go cold turkey with our devices, and you older folks should tell your grandkids to stop using them. All right? I think that's another way, or another way that this could have been meant, right? And you could base your analysis around that suggestion and kind of pull evidence to say that the intent was that. Okay, so he quotes from the Facebook post, but he only quotes the bits that support his argument. All right, and then he goes on and he kind of has his analogy that he likes so much. Yeah. This McDonald's forming an alliance, that he says it twice, right? He loves this comment that he made so much, he says it twice, right? Why does he repeat it? Well, for people that don't read much of the article, they might just read that bit. Also, I think he thinks it's pretty funny, right? There's humour, right? An analogy. Okay. All right, again, we might use this photo as more evidence of the older generation, right? It's scary, it's blurry, it's a reflection. There are darkened people behind a closed glass. It's industrial. There seems to be some kind of big kind of production lights, and the connectivity and intelligence is all very faded and dark. I know I've got a black and white copy, but I think it's just quite a dark, imposing view of the Facebook post, of the Facebook picture. Okay, Facebook is bad. He's now transitioning into saying, this is where I start to disagree with their rosy kind of attitude. But the first bit of evidence really is that if they're willing to even ask the question, it must be bad. Right? The second bit is to do with now he's going to provide some evidence. He gives an authority. Well, it's a study, right? I would argue that this is not a statistic, it's just a group of people, but, well, anyway. Okay, but it's definitely a study, right? And we, older people, everybody, respect studies, make sure he mentions the university. And then he moves down again, right? There's a bit of a tonal shift here, right? And it's like, you know, well, we would think it's terrible, but, you know, all he's asking for is moderation, right? So it's, you might expect, yeah, it's this act of reasonableness. Yeah. That's what he's asking. One, acknowledge the fact and treat yourself as a child, more specifically as a child of someone who really does understand technology. Yeah, so again, you know, it's this relationship to their children. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Continue through, find some more techniques, relate it back to the audience, and make comments below.